Zulik as our guest speaker for the hunt and for the night before at our club meeting. And Steve is just an amazing, incredible diver, detectorist with Ryan Fazekas from Anderson Shafts. And he shared some of his stories. So I've been inspired by Steve to try to get more into the water. But I would say today it's probably 75 to 80% land versus water, with the intent, and in my case, to try to do more water hunting if I can do that. It's mostly land right now.
Me, I'll go out in the woods. I'll hunt in the woods. I call it wood stomping. I'll go out and hunt in the woods any day over going to the beach. I'll do the beach, but I don't like the beach.
Somebody said that
we're having trouble.
That we went off of the air for a little while.
Yeah.
Guys, if you will go and, well, you can't hear me, I don't guess, but if they will go and refresh, everything will come back. I tell you what, while they're doing that, let me just go ahead and run an ad, and we'll give it time for maybe everything to come back up. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garrett, XP Deus, Tesoro, and Macro detectors and supplies, and he is now an authorized dealer for MineLab. So, if you're looking to get your hands on the new Equinox 600 or 800, then Tim is your guy. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any questions you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 and be sure and tell him Relics Radio sent you. The call-in number Swansea asked for is 270-495-0315. Jeff, if you'll type that in. And Swansea may be wanting to call. But that is...
Okay, well, all right, I've got it up now. Okay, there's Tim Henderson. He's in the house.
Tim said, what did I miss? Well, you missed your new ad, Tim. It's one thing that you missed.
Sorry, Tim.
Here is Swansea coming in, and so we're going to get him on the line. Brandon, are you there?
I'm here, Lloyd. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Hello, great to hear you and Jeff on, and you got a great guest on there with Carolyn. Carolyn, it's been fantastic to listen to you tell, and your games that you do for your hunts, they sound fantastic.
Thank you so much, Sandy.
I have a question about the bottle hunting thing. Now, I do a lot of cellar holes up here in New Hampshire and all over New England. I've never really gotten into the bottle thing because I'm like a bull in a china shop. So this is where my question comes from. What do you use for equipment to not, when you get down to the bottle dumps, what do you use to not smash and destroy everything that you're hoping to extract in one piece?
I just use a little shovel that I got. I won't use like a gator digger or a lash or anything like that. It's just a cheap little garden shovel. But down here, our soil's not really that hard packed. So I use mostly my hands, just kind of chipping it a little bit with the shovel and then just digging it with my hands because we have sugar sand down here. So it's pretty.
So now, are you using like a plastic shovel or are you still using metal?
Nope, I'm still using a metal shovel. I just go really, really slow when I'm in the hole, and you can kind of hear if there's a bottle. I do pull out tons of pieces of glass that are broken up, and I just start using my hands mostly, and I just start just pulling out the pieces. If I find that I got a whole bottle and the dirt is packed around it a little bit, I will chisel around the bottle with the little shovel that I use. It's just one of those.
Now, do Go ahead.
It's just like one of those dollar shovels that you can get at Walmart that most women have in their garden.
Now, what about some form of like a pronged tool? Do you use like a 3-pronged, something you'd use in your garden too to help break up the soil where they're spread apart? Or is it just exclusively you're using a shovel and I assume decent gloves so you're not slicing your hands up?
Yeah. I do know I have other people that have dug with me that have the little like rake tool that you're talking about that they use, but I just use the shovel and good gloves, because you did bring up a good point. My first bottle dump that I dug, I wasn't wearing gloves and I cut myself pretty bad. Now I always wear gloves when I'm digging.
And I'm guessing you're up to date on your tetanus shots.
Oh yeah, I had to get one not too long ago.
That's a good point right there, Brandon, that you certainly do. Because there's, and let me throw a question in there too. Is there a danger of microbes or something when you're digging in those privies? I mean, can diseases live that long?
You know, I don't know if it's a myth or not. I've read it before. I tried researching it again recently, and I didn't see it, but I did see it on one of the bottle pages that I'm on Facebook a while ago, and they had something they call the bottle digger's disease, where if you cut yourself with an old bottle, that exactly what you said, everything's, all the bacteria and everything's trapped in the bottle, and it can, get infected pretty bad. But I couldn't find anything else when I was looking it up a few weeks ago, because I had mentioned it to somebody and they're like, I hadn't heard that. But ever since when I first heard that, and after I cut my hand, I just make sure that I'm really careful, because I don't know what's in the ground. I mean, it is dirt, there is bugs, there is all kinds of bacteria, so I just go slow.
And I think,
you never know what you're going to disturb when you're digging in that old dirt. It was like when Loy and I got in that trash pit this last DIV, and it was on the last day, and of course we dug around in this old dirt, and then I got home and I started getting sick. I mean, it was like real bad allergies, and then I felt terrible, and I was thinking, well, did I get something out of that bottle, that trash pit we dug? And then of course, luckily it was, I guess, just regular old allergies. But I mean, I was worried about it there for a little bit, so. You never know.
I guess you guys have seen what Jeff Ford put in on the chat.
Yeah, that was pretty.
He said, I guarantee you 500 years from today, if you people are digging Missouri Max Privy, they will die. Brandon, I think that you're like me and Jeff. You've relic hunted all your life, and you just haven't got in these privies and bottle dumps and things. Am I correct?
I have not. I mean, I've come across them at times, and we do come across, Carolyn was saying earlier about how you find bottle dumps at the bases of old, large trees. We find metal dumps at the bottom of old, large trees. And if you start looking back to the late 1600s all the way through the 1700s, they would actually bury utensils, parts of tools, random stuff, because if they needed to find them again, they knew they were at the base of that tree. And I find these spots where you get around the base of an old oak or an old pine that's got a 36-inch diameter on it, and you've got hundreds of signals on all 360 degrees of that tree. It's unbelievable what you can find around those things.
I'd never heard that. I'd never thought about that. I just thought that, people that go detecting and everything that don't carry their trash out, they'll throw stuff around a big tree like that, And I always just figured that that's what it was. That's a good point.
Yeah, there's a lot of articles about that. Actually, if you go back to New England history, anyway, I'm not sure about where you guys are from, a little bit south, but you go to New England history, and they actually had what they called metal dumps around the trees, because if they needed a part or a piece of a tool or a piece of farm equipment that broke, even something as simple as a scythe blade or something like that, they can go back to that spot. They knew it's all buried in the ground around it, and it's always usually within 4 inches of the base of the tree, but it's literally 360 degrees around the outside of it. And you can tell if it's been a digger's trash, because of course I do a lot of deep woods metal detecting for cellar holes. If there was someone there, they typically are not going to be conscious enough to put it all in one spot. They leave it on the cellar hole walls or the property dividers of the old pastures and stuff like that, they're not going to be so precise to put these forks, spoons, random plow pieces, all that stuff around the bases of the tree. So,
had you heard that, Carolyn?
Yeah, that makes sense.
I hadn't heard that, but that makes a lot of sense because I have found I can think of one particular tree, holy cow, all the stuff that I pulled around that tree. It was the same as when I'm bottle digging. I just laid my detector down and just started digging and just pulling stuff up because there was just too many signals.
A great spot to sift as well, Carolyn. That'd be a good spot for your small sifter. And again, it's usually very shallow. I use a little, I think it's 18 inches by 12 inches box with screen mesh that's 1/4 inch on the bottom. I've found buttons, even the old glass buttons as well. It's the type of stuff that they would just discard around that tree. So if they needed it, they could come back and get it.
That's great.
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to go back to that tree because I found some of my best finds around that big tree.
Jeff, when we were there at DIV a couple of weeks ago, that pit was right next to that tree that had grown around those rocks and everything.
Yeah, it sure was. And then, did you get a picture of that tree with the rock growing in it?
No, I should have. There was
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It was, we call it a rock. It was more or less a boulder growing up in this tree. And as the tree was growing, the boulder was getting higher off the ground, but that pit was right there next to that big tree. So, it does make sense.
That lends a little bit of credibility then to what Brendan said then. Yeah, I'm going to start digging around all those trees now.
One other thing I was going to mention,
that you bring that up. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one other thing I was going to bring up about the privies is ours are always east of the house, of course, because what you guys were talking about downwind, because our winds always come from the west. A lot of what we notice here on the 1700s and 1800 cellar holes, there's also a lot of activity. If you can find daffodils or lilac trees out in the middle of the woods, something that's a fragrant flowering plant, it was normally somewhere either between the house and the privy or around the privy just to, again, mask the odor. I can find the daffodils in the privy a lot of times before I even find the cellar hole, and then I go due west because that's obviously an unnatural plant to be out in the deep woods of New Hampshire.
Another good point. We find old house sites by finding the daffodils, but I'd never heard that. I tell you what, this is a lot of information that we've picked up here tonight on privies and bottle digging and everything.
Well, let Carolyn get back to her show. This is all about her, and it's been great listening to you guys, and I look forward to listening in the future. I'm a newbie to hearing you guys on the radio. I really enjoy your content. I enjoy your guests, and it's a great find for me outside of metal detecting, but still being inside. Well,
thank you so much for those kind words.
Thank you very much.
We're just two rednecks with a metal detector, but
that's it. And looking for a privy.
Looking for a privy, that's right. Thanks for the call, Brandon.
I did want to mention after he mentioned that about the trees with the metal around it. It's funny because that tree the one particular tree, we called it the giving tree. I'd never heard that they buried stuff around it, but that's the nickname for the big trees, the giving tree.
Well, what did he call it? The metal tree?
Yep.
It's just a place, I guess, that what we find at our old what we call colonial houses here. They're our first settlers. We'll find buttons that have been repurposed, where the shanks broke off, and then they drill a couple of holes through them and sew them on again, because, those things were valuable back in the day. So I guess that they just had a place that they could just throw that junk. If they needed a piece of metal to make something else, they knew exactly where to go. That's valuable information.
It is. I use my garage now for that purpose. So if you walk in my garage, you can tell. So,
well, we're no different than they were on that. Carolyn, what have y'all got planned in the near future with the club?
The near future, we do have. It's not really a club event, but actually tomorrow morning, a group of about 12 of us. We're all headed to South Carolina. We're going to do a hunt up there. It's a seated hunt. It's called the Hunt of the Carolinas. I know Dawn in chat, she's going to be going there. And Miss Barb's going to be there as well. It's a pretty good hunt. It's just one day. And then on Sunday, a bunch of us are going to go to Tybee Island and do some beach hunting.
That sounds like a great trip right there, I tell you.
It does.
Yep.
I'd make Mark Hoover pay for it, too. He's got the money.
I have a feeling I might be.
What kind of hunting are you?
Mark had, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, Mark had mentioned something earlier about my secret. It's it's funny. When I go out hunting, I have this superstition. I have to wear my mismatched socks. If I wear matching socks, yep.
I had heard that.
If they're matching, I have a bad day. If they're not matching, I have a pretty good day. So I got my stuff packed for this weekend, and I have all mismatched socks.
And you know what? I tried to do that. I tried to wear mismatched socks, and the only thing I got was a bunch of chigger bites.
We have that problem
you know that
here
dryer,
too.
the elite socks, and then you just have to have mixed match socks here, so the dryer eats them all. So.
And Jeff has trouble with ticks.
Oh
yeah.
Well, I got 4 off of me today, and that was just getting out of the truck. I mean, that was just. Of course, I've got my tacky pants on with my new pants with the pockets. And luckily, you could see them crawling up your leg before they got attached to you. But, I mean, for some reason, I step out of the truck, and they're like, there's Jeff, get on him. And I don't know what it is. So, and Loy, they was like, we don't want Loy. He's too old or something. I don't know.
They don't bother me, and I took a shower whenever I came in, and I didn't find any on me. But I take a B1 vitamin, and then I also take a B complex, and they say that repels them. But maybe I'm just too old. I don't know. They don't bother me. Carolyn, how long have you been detecting?
I'm still kind of new at this. I've only been detecting for 4 years.
Wow. What kind of machines are you using?
As of recently, I'm using the AT Max. Before that, I had the AT Pro. And before that, my first real machine, I did have a Radio Shack. I used it for about a week, and then I upgraded. But then I upgraded to a Coin Master GT from White's.
I had one of those, yeah.
And then I'm hoping to upgrade soon. I want to upgrade it, and I want to get the 3030.
Let me ask you a question, and you, of course, Garrett doesn't sponsor us, and so we use Garrett stuff, but they don't sponsor our show, so we can pretty well say what we want to and be honest about it. What kind of difference are you seeing between the AT Pro and the AT Max, pluses or negatives, in your opinion?
The AT Max, well, me personally, I can't use either one on the beach. I mean, yeah, in the dry sand I can. I have used the Max in the water. I couldn't use the Pro in the water. Maybe it's because I'm not a beach hunter, but I just honestly I don't see with the Max that there's too much of a difference. There still is a lot of chatter, but I have noticed with the Max it does go deeper. I've compared it to the 3030, and it heard signals just as clear as the 3030. But the thing with the Max is there's a lot of chatter with it. And I think it's just because it's picking up so much stuff, you have to go even slower if you're using the AT Max than you have to go with the Pro, because it picks up everything. If you're going normal speed, it's just going to drive you crazy because it's just so much chatter in the machine. I've gotten used to it because I go slow anyways, and I've slowed down even more. It is good because I have found stuff. I was hunting with Mark in a park that was complete. I mean, there was trash everywhere. That's where my giving tree's at in this park. And I was able to pull up a V-nickel with the AT Max in the middle of all the trash just because I slowed down that much. So other than that, I mean, like I said, the pro is it goes deeper. The con is you have to go slower or else it's just going to sound like, as Jim Fielding says, a leprechaun in your ear.
So are you using any discrimination on yours?
I do. Well, it depends where I'm at. I have hunted in all metal mode, but I only do that in areas where it's not really trashy. If it's really trashy, I crank the discrimination up pretty high. I'm probably going to miss some gold because I'll crank it up to like 40, but there's so much foil all over the place. I just don't want to hear it. I don't want to dig it. I'm specifically looking for relics.
Yeah.
But if you go all metal mode, it's just like, it's continuous chatter in your ears.
And Jeff, you can tell her how we run our pros.
Yeah, we run at Pro Zero, and then of course we would do that because we love to hear the iron, and I can tell a lot more about the ground in Pro Zero than I can using anything else. So, but swans that he put on there, if I swing any slower, I'll be going backwards. So I guess he's swinging pretty slow.
If I could give anybody the best information that they could get if they're just getting into metal detecting, it is go slow, because your detector has to process all the information that's coming in, and that goes with almost any detector. I know the Equinox now and the Deus, I know both of those are fast, but you still got to give that machine time. And like Jeff said, even on our iron disc, we run that at 0. We hear absolutely everything, and that's just that's the key right there. It's just going as low to the ground as you can and as slow as you can.
Yeah.
And I wanted to say one thing. I went to Panama City. It was a couple of years ago, maybe 3 or 4. But anyway, I was using my AT Pro in the water. And, of course, like you said, I mean, you couldn't hear anything. I mean, it was just so much chatter. And then, luckily, I did find a pair of Ray-Bans. For some reason, I believe I've seen them before my detector went over them. But anyway, I got home, and I was me and a buddy of mine, we went hunting probably about 3 or 4 days after I got home. And I turned my detector on. And, I mean, it was just like going crazy. I thought, well, are we over power lines or what? I could not tell what was going on. And come to find out, where the salt water had dried up under my coil cover, the salt was still messing with my coil. So, I mean, you got to make sure you keep your coil cover cleaned up.
The AT Pro never was meant to hunt in salt water. It says all terrain, but that terrain is off. You've got to have a PI machine to hunt in the salt water, because it's just it's so hot. I mean, it's just like the ground at Culpeper. But you can take a PI machine like an X-Cal or a Garrett Sea Hunter. They're made to do that, and that's what I hunt in the salt water with is a Garrett Sea Hunter. And they're made to do that, you know. So you have to tailor the machine to where you're hunting, you know.
Yep. I loved my AT Pro. I mean, I loved it. I just wanted to go. I had a wireless setup for my AT Pro, but I just figured I'll get another machine. I wanted to have a pretty good backup. But I mean, the Max is great. The Pro was just, I mean, probably one of the best machines I've ever learned. I've ever used.
Well,
it's amazing how much stuff I found with that.
I'll give you a little secret. Of course, it depends on what kind of hunting that you do, and I guess that me and Jeff we're like Swansea. We hunt mainly old colonial sites or Civil War sites, and if we're hunting a Civil War site, we're using a MineLab GPX. But in the colonial sites, I love the AT Pro. I bought one when it first came out. Then I bought a CTX, and I sold my CTX last year because, in my personal opinion, the CTX is not a good machine to run at those places like that. I love the AT Pro because maybe I just know it better. I don't know, but I used the CTX for about 3 years, and it's a great machine if you're hunting in yards and you are hunting in parks and you want to find coins as opposed to pull tabs and everything. You can't find anything that's any better. And I found a lot of buttons, flat buttons with my CTX. But I love my AT Pro. It is a perfect machine for what I use it for. That's Jeff's phone. That that noise that we heard there.
Yeah,
I was wondering what that was.
Yeah, I tried to cut it, go to do not disturb, but it just won't do it for some reason. So,
yeah.
Hey, Lloyd.
Yeah.
This is Mark. So, just a couple of comments about the AT Pro, AT Max, and just the saltwater hunting in general. So, like Carolyn, I had an AT Pro and an AT Max, and of course, I love them both. They're just great machines. They're easy to use, and of course, they're waterproof. So, but what I've been told, and I tried it once, and it actually worked pretty well, was to manually ground balance the AT Pro or the AT Max, but it'll work better on the Max than it will on the Pro, all the way down to 15, between 10 and 20, around 15. And that chatter will significantly decrease. It won't go away, but it will significantly decrease at the beach. So that's one little thing you can do. Now to work, you lower ground balance it down to 15 on that wet sand, and it's pretty quiet. You get in the water, it still gets a little bit of chatter there, but it does work. It does help it a little bit. Now, you made the comment about using a PEI machine in the salt water. I will tell you, because I now have one, the Equinox is as quiet. It's not a PI machine. As you know, it's a VLF, but it has multi-frequency. The Nox is as quiet as a church mouse in salt water. I've done it. I've used it. And it is a game changer with a VLF machine in salt water. It works great without being a PI machine.
It's going to be a game changer in more ways than just salt water. As well, because
I hope it is.
it is a fast machine. We've all seen it pick up gold chain and a detector. Whenever you're looking for a chain or a necklace, it is identifying each individual link, and that's hard for a regular metal detector to do. But the Nox is not having any, and I call it the Nox. But it's not having any trouble at all in doing that. And I think it's the multi-frequency that is helping with the mineralization of salt water. I really do. And I think that it's probably going to do fairly well in hot ground,
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that anybody's used it extensively, like in areas like Culpeper. I know they've tried it up there. I really haven't heard any reports on some of that hot ground up there. But I think they've done okay with it. I just haven't heard anybody has used it extensively.
Yeah. Talking about the Equinox, and then we're going to come back. Let me rerun Tim's ad here, so that we make sure that everybody knows new updates with Murray Branch Outdoors. If your passion is metal detecting, then you know how much your success is based on the equipment you use. Let my buddy Tim Henderson of Murray Branch Outdoors in Murfreesboro, Tennessee, help you with that. Tim is an authorized dealer of Garrett, XP Deus, Tesoro, and macro detectors and supplies, and he is now an authorized dealer for MineLab. So if you're looking to get your hands on the new Equinox 600 or 800, then Tim is your guy. Murray Branch Outdoors is not only competitive in their prices, but the service after the sale is second to none. Tim not only sells detectors, he uses them, and so he can answer any questions you might have. Murray Branch Outdoors also deals in used detectors, and he'll take your old detector in on trade when you decide to upgrade. So give Tim of Murray Branch Outdoors a call at 615-948-4611 and be sure and tell him Relics Radio sent you. We did that when we went off the air there a while ago. I don't know that it's on the other version or not, but just wanted to rerun that. Carolyn, are you thinking about upgrading to the Equinox?
That's one of the main reasons I haven't upgraded at all, is because I have been pretty loyal to Garrett, and I have wanted to try the 3030. I'm hearing all this about the Equinox. Mark's trying to twist my arm, and I just haven't made the decision yet. I'm still going to use my Max for a while, and then I'll decide what I'm going to get.
Well, Jeff and I are thinking about, we're actually on the list to get one, to tell you the truth about it. But I'm not going to throw my AT Pro away yet. And, but if, of course, like I said, it depends on what kind of hunting that you're doing and everything. But, and Dick and Canuck came in. Hello, Liz.
Yep,
but, and I think Jeff's the same way. We're not going to throw the pros away, are we?
No, definitely not. That's my go-to machine right now. And I know I had the F75 for a while. And I mean, that's a great machine, but I would always go back to the Pro for old home sites. So, I mean, you can't beat it. I mean, I love the Pro, and I guess I just know the machine. I've had it. I bought it right when they first come out, so I've used it for quite a while now.
It's actually a really good, easy machine to use. I mean, it does so much, and it's not complicated. I mean, it's a great machine. It's not complicated.
It's not expensive, and yet it does the job. Now, it won't do the job like some detectors will. I understand that. It won't have the depth that some machines will, like maybe the Max. But it is all around. I mean, it's a great machine. And I know it, and I like it, and it's perfect for what we do. And I'm looking forward to seeing how the Equinox compares. I think it's probably going to be a really great machine to have in the colonial sites that we work. And I do know that there's been I talked to a couple of guys that I know. I won't mention any names, but one of them was using a Deus and one of them was using the Equinox. And there was a Civil War item that was probably, 10-12 inches deep, that the guy with the XP Deus, he said it's junk. And when the other guy with the Equinox, whenever he dug it, it wasn't junk. It was a good Civil War relic. And so I guess the jury's still out, and I was kind of thinking about either one of those because both of them are good relic machines. But jury's still out, and we'll know more about it as people begin to use them and compare them and everything.
Yeah, and everyone's going to have their own preference.
I still want to see a little more. Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Carolyn, tell us how everybody can get in contact with you, your website, your Facebook. Do you do YouTube stuff now?
No, I haven't. I don't. I'm so busy. I didn't know once I took over as president how busy I would be. Usually I'm out researching properties and I've got a bunch of stuff lined up, and no, it's mostly club stuff now. But we do have our website. It is thecfmdc.com. We have a Facebook page as well. It is the Central Florida Metal Detecting Club. And if any of you want to look me up, I'm just look up Carolyn Harwick and you'll find me on Facebook.
Or you can call me, her agent, and I'll arrange to have an appearance at your event.
I really do. I really do appreciate you, Mark, booking her for me. You are her agent in this regard right here, and she's been a wonderful guest. Carolyn, give some newcomers that may be listening tonight. Give some newcomers the best tips that you've learned in your experience of the 4 years that you've been hunting.
My biggest tip is when you're first starting out is to dig everything. Jeff, you said it earlier. I used to dig so much iron, and I still do, but the iron is going to tell you about the site and what's there. So just dig everything. I still, to this day, I mean, it's hard for me not to dig everything because you never know what it's going to be. I was on the beach last week, and a couple weeks ago, Mark was there. And I had dug a ton of beaver tails, and then the next one, I thought it was the same thing, same signal, sounded the same, and it was a 14-karat gold ring with 7 diamonds in it.
Wow!
So you just got to,
man.
So you just got to dig everything. Thank you.
That's right. And then you look at iron. I mean, what are gun tools made out of? Civil War gun tools. What are bayonets made of? I mean, the iron is relics too. So I mean, there's still a lot of good iron targets out there and good relics.
I found some really cool cast iron toys because they used to be cast iron. And if you're skipping it over, my favorite's a little toy train that I found, and it's all iron.
That's right. And, we don't dig too many large scents in our area here. And I would say that it's the same way down in Florida. Y'all don't have too many, do you?
Yep.
But,
nope.
But one of the 3 that I have dug was an iron signal. But it sounded a little bit different. And that's what I love about an AT Pro is because you will dig those good iron signals and there's no way to tell anybody. It's just experience. And that is a great tip that you are telling the beginner. If you get a signal, play with that signal a little bit, see what it sounds like, commit that to memory, and then go ahead and dig it. And if you do that a number of times, then you'll begin to understand what that metal detector is telling you, and you'll begin to, kind of play a game with yourself, when you hear a signal. I think, that this is this or that, and see if you're right, and you'll just learn a lot more about it. And Scott Hansen says, dig all repeatable signals. Amen on that. I mean, you never know what you're gonna pull out.
And another big tip that I would have is whenever I go out, I just have fun with it. I can have a day where I find nothing but literally junk, but I just start, like I said before, I have a good imagination, so I just start getting creative and coming up with different ideas. Oh, well, this could be this, just like really random stuff, and just having fun and with the people that you're with and just keeping everybody laughing. That's like, to me, that's the even better than finding something really good is just getting out with my friends and just having a good time. So if you have fun with it, then you're never going to get bored.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Like today, Loy and I was hunting, and of course, we started out, we were hunting like a place that was still standing, and we found a couple of decent finds, but then we went to an older spot, and then, of course, we had the opportunity of finding something real good, and we really wasn't finding anything, so we done a little bit more scouting, and we found this other virgin site that was, what do you say, late 1800s, early 1900s, and then, of course, the finds we were finding wasn't that good, but there was targets everywhere, and still there's a lot of targets left, so. But, I mean, we wasn't finding a lot of good stuff, but we were still having a great time.
Yeah. Walking around the dead cows. Finding suspender clips, and I'll guarantee you those suspender clips didn't go with those cows. But, yeah, we found I found an old oil lamp that still had the wick trimmer on it. And what was it? Patent date 1873. So we're getting some kind of idea that that's late 1800s. And you just never know, you know. You never know what you're going to find. Sure don't.
Hey, Lloyd?
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanted to see if I could just tell one more quick story about our hunt that we just finished. And I want to give a shout out here, and I think Carolyn will really appreciate this. You know, we gave away 11 detectors, and of course the grand prize that everybody wants to get is a CTX 3030. And you know, in our particular hunt, it was meant to be to go to a particular person, and she's not on chat tonight, but I know that she's listening on your show, and she's already messaged me on Messenger. So I want to give a shout out to Celeste. Celeste is a new member, a relatively new member from our sister club over in Tampa. And and she found a token, and when it was revealed that she had won the CTX 3030, she was in absolute stunned silence. And I think just the appreciation that she had for winning that, it was meant to be that she was going to win that CTX 3030. So I wanted to give a shout out tonight to Celeste. If you're listening, it was great to have you at the hunt. We were all delighted that you won the CTX 3030, and you know, we look forward to digging with you in the near future. So yeah, I just wanted to give you a shout out tonight.
Hey, congratulations, Celeste. Glad to have a shout out on the show here to you, and you do have a great machine. There's no doubt about it. Carolyn, I think it'd be appropriate that maybe you just name through the sponsors that you guys had for the Sunshine Shootout. That's easy for me to say. Just name through the people that helped make that possible.
We had Mind Lab, we had White's, we had Garrett, we had First Texas Product, we had Riley's Treasure Gold. We had Adventures in History, Treasures in America, the New Age Goonies. We had Phil Myers Detecting, Treasure Mountain Detectors, BioFreeze, Gravedigger Tools, American Digger Magazine, Paul's Coins, Eastern Western Magazine.
You forgot the best one.
Which one?
Krispy Kreme donut.
Anderson Shaft. Oh, yeah. Krispy Kreme donut.
Now, I've seen your picture,
now
Mark.
I'm hungry.
Yeah, I've seen your picture, Mark. I never have met you in person, but you're not in that wide pride group that Butch and Heath Jones talk about. So you need to eat some more of those Krispy Kremes.
Oh, don't worry. I'll be eating them all I can. Trust me.
Did she?
I just got some tonight. Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy.
Chips Ahoy.
Well, I tell you what.
Yep, and Nutter Butter.
Kudos to all of those sponsors that helped with that, because just like Celeste, you have made it possible that somebody is going to be hunting in style now, and we appreciate that, and is well worth taking the time to mention through all of those. And 200 hunters, I just can't imagine coordinate everything that, and that is partially or completely a seeded hunt, isn't it?
Yeah, it is a seeded hunt. There's 4 hunts. There's a warm-up hunt. Oh, I forgot. Kellyco was a sponsor, too. There is a warm-up hunt that Kellyco puts on. Then we have a silver hunt, and we have a competition penny hunt, and then we have a relic hunt.
That's great. That's great. And you couldn't do it.
Is great.
You couldn't do it with all those people helping, could you?
No, we actually had we had a little bit of a setback this year where we couldn't get in the park. Usually we get in the park at 7, and they wouldn't let us in until 8. And so there was a little bit of panic. Nobody thought we were going to be able to pull it off. And I looked at my watch at 9:09, and everything was done. The first hunt wasn't till 10:15. Everybody was having coffee and donuts, and everything was just ready to go. And really, honestly, without the volunteers, without the club members, none of it would have been possible.
How many targets did y'all plant?
Oh, gosh. There must, all together between the 4 hunts, there was over 20,000 targets. There was probably about 5,000 in each hunt.
Goodness
gracious. Man, that's a lot of work.
Chris Amsoff just came in. He said hi. He's driving. Hello, Chris.
Hello, Chris.
And that takes a lot of teamwork, doesn't it, to put something like that together? Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jeff.
Yeah, it really does.
Was you saying something? Jeff?
I couldn't imagine if me and you were going out and then I had to seed 20,000 targets. It would be impossible. But like y'all were saying earlier, thanks for the volunteers. You couldn't do it without them.
Yeah.
No. They really made the biggest difference in the whole hunt.
Yeah.
I can't tell them thank you enough because it's all them that it was pulled off.
Well, it all sounds great, and it sounds to me like that y'all are on the right track, and that the future there at Central Florida Metal Detecting Club, it sounds like that everything's working out great, and that you are a wonderful president, that they've made a good selection in picking you, and we just wish you all the best, and we're so happy that you came on the show tonight and shared the information that you have with us. And look forward to it.
I would like to really give a quick shout out because I know Jim's probably listening too. We have a new vice president, and if you could get him on as a guest, he's phenomenal. His name's Jim Fielding. I know he's been on Josh's show a few times. He's really, really good. He's been hunting since the 60s. He's written articles. He's a really amazing guy. He's now our vice president of the club. And as you know, Mark's our second vice president. We have Michael McClure. He's our secretary. And Chuck Hobson, he's our treasurer. So I just wanted to give a quick shout out to all of them on the board.
Okay, Mark, you're the booking agent for Relics Radio. So
I'm on it. I'm on it.
You get on it, and you get Jim Fielding for us. And me and Jeff have been booking this week, and we've just about got most of May. We've got all of April done. Let me go ahead and shout out to our upcoming guest. We're going to have Matt Howell from Virginia on April the 26th. That'll be next week. And then we'll have Josh Tyree on May 3rd, Anthony Hostetler on May the 10th, and Howard Hewitt on May the 17th. And I think Jeff has got somebody he's talking to for May 24th. So May 31st, I guess you get in contact with Jim Fielding and see if he's available at that time, and we'll have all of May done. We're counting on you now, Mark.
All right, I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
Yeah, no worries, Jim. And I'll second that. Jim is a great guy. Got great stories, and he's actually my mentor. And so I have learned so much from. And Jim and Carolyn too, but he'll be a great guest, and I'll reach out to Jim and see if we can get him on there on May 31st.
And I want to get Swansea on because I know Swansea has a wealth of information that he can share, and I want to get him on the show. So Swansea, send us an email or something. Get on my Facebook page or Jeff Warwick's Facebook page. Or get on our Relics Radio group page or something other, or you can just send me an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. It's all one word, diggingwith7, and we'll work something out with you. I want you to be on the show because I've heard you on other shows, and you're very knowledgeable. You got anything else to add, Jeff?
Well, I was just going to thank Carolyn and Mark for calling in, and then for Carolyn for being our guest. It's been our honor. And then, of course, to all our listeners out there, we can't do this without them. So I mean, we really appreciate
everything.
everything.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Appreciate it. We kept you on probably a little bit longer than you thought that you'd be on, but it was a great show, and we had a lot of really good information that came out. Sorry about the little snafu that happened. That wasn't anything that happened on our end. It's just something that happens with Spreaker every now and then. It just happened to happen here, but we jumped on with part 2, and like I say, I'll go back and try to seam all this together in one episode. But thanks to you, Carolyn. Thanks, Mark. Thanks, Jeff, and all of our callers and everybody in the chat here tonight. And be sure and catch us next Thursday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time on Relics Radio. Let me go ahead and give a shout-out to the other podcast, because if you love metal detecting, you'll like all these shows. Josh with Beyond Sight and Sound, he's on Sunday night and also Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. American Digger Relic Roundup, they're on at 9 o'clock Eastern Time on Monday night. All Metal Mode is on Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. History Seekers is on Tuesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, and Hardcore Metal Detecting is on Thursday and Saturday at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. And be sure and catch me and Jeff on our YouTube channels, Digging with 7 or Tennessee Jeff, and watch our videos and subscribe to our channel and like and share it with everybody. So until next week, go out there and dig some history. Thank you so much for joining us tonight on Relics Radio. We really do appreciate it. Be sure and join us live each Thursday night at 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern here on Spreaker. Or you can catch the archive show at Relics Radio on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, or iTunes. Please take a minute and hit the like button, and be sure and follow us so that you'll get notifications of all of our upcoming broadcasts. You can also find us on YouTube at Digging with 7 or Tennessee Jeff, or you can check us out on our Relics Radio Facebook page. If you'd like to get in touch with us, then send an email to diggingwith7@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you. We hope you'll join us next Thursday night, and until then, get out there and dig some history.